Yes, meaningful chart would be here. This is so I think uh, futures were up, and the morning yesterday. This is where the futures I think dumped right about till here, and futures were in nice recovery after that. Made a nice recovery, and I'm sure what is this number 45. Okay, there should be some sort of a resistance for this, and futures right now coming down. Most likely it will bounce here, should be an ephemeral bounce. Seems like there is more to go to the downside. And yeah, so this was oversold and this got resolved and it hit the mean. Right? This is a clear pattern again. So anytime you see this pattern, go for it. It's the mean and starts to come back down. Most likely it will come back down to this number 45.34, which is where I think we closed yesterday, give or take. And then I'll probably push up. I think yesterday we closed here at the lows, 45.27, somewhere around here. And based on this one, yeah, it closed around here. So it will come back down to its 200. I'm pretty sure it will come back down to its 200. All the signs are pointing the same fact. It should come back, bounce off of this number. If it can bounce there, expect it to push down to yesterday's lows, 45.25. We'll keep a close watch on this one. And this is also suggesting the same thing. It come back down here and then probably push up from here, and this looks like a very good spot to bounce. This has all the makings of a bounce here. Let's see how far it can bounce. MSFT not yet. So yesterday, based on this doji, we were day before yesterday, based on this doji, we were expecting it to come back down. I was thinking, more of a well, this is okay. This is not too bad, but if it breaks here, then we could look for a push down to here, 44.78. Well, a good 70 points or 60 points pullback is not out of the question. It's pretty healthy, but the question is, will the buyers let it happen, or they're going to gobble up, every dip that comes their way? That is yet to be seen. And VIX, I still don't see VIX doing anything. There's no juice. There's no ammo for VIX. VIX is not doing what it's supposed to do, or rather, VIX is actually doing what it's supposed to do. The volatility was high, now it came back down. So nothing surprising there with VIX. A touch here, 45.31, and I think it will bounce again. And let's see how far will this bounce go. Maybe I don't know, 45.91 up till here. Uh, Not out of the question. Not out of the question at all. I think we are still building momentum here. I think if it can push up, the mean is not so about good 50%, 50 points on SPX. We'll look for that. And most likely after that, if it's a green day today, most likely the rally will resume. But let's see what happens around 45. If it pushes up into the mean, let's see what happens around here, 45.91. Most likely, I'm assuming that it will hit this 4600, and this should be the top for the day. Unless Apple starts to push into all-time highs, this should be the top of the day. And then we should probably come back down, test this 8 again, 45.55, 5, around at 45.55, then probably test this number again. And the actual test to the downside will come down at this number, 45.32. If SPX or ES breaks this number, the 8, and we are looking up for a push down into the 200. And this should be absolute bottom today. The somewhere close to 200 or a little bit below 200 because of the momentum. It might push down a little bit further. So this base case, well, I don't have a base case, but here 45.32 If I'm forced to choose a base case, 45.32 is my base case, and to the downside, 44.78, a good 70 to 80 points, and to the upside, and let's cap it up 4600, 4600. So 60, good 60 points to the upside, and that's the range that I want to play. And on the weekly, the mean is sitting right around 45.22. So look for a bounce here. If it comes down, more than likely it will come down. 45.22, let's look for a bounce there. That breaks 45.65. That breaks 44.41. 44.41, 100 points down. I don't see that happening. So let's say, okay, let's revise the base case. Base case is here, 45.22 to the downside, and 45.80 to the upside. That's my base case. 45.80 to the upside, 45.20 to the downside. This is the range I want to, this is my base case range. Then if that gets stretched, 45.63 here, or this is much, much, much better bounce point, 45.77 range, 45.70s. This 200, this will act as a solid resistance. If that is, if it breaks here, if it breaks below the 45, this line, 45.20, 45.30, then it will go test the mean, which is at 45.20s. And then if that breaks, it will come back down to this number, 45.70s, 45.70s, this range. This is how I want to play to the downside. And to the upside, obviously, we'll look for 45.82. And then if that breaks, we'll look for an absolute top of around 4600. This is the game plan for today for ES futures. And for SPX, this is where let's start here. SPX most likely, will be in a bounce after this, and let's put high with it. So this was the end of the day yesterday, and it SPY kept pushing down. Then obviously it got oversold. It is getting resolved and looking like it will push into mostly it's 8. It will test its 8 again, and then I think there is enough momentum building for it to actually push up here into 456, but that is yet to be seen. Uh, but here is where it should head, 454. Let's see how this plays out. And the mean is sitting here, 4600. So if this starts to push up, then we could look for a SPY to push into 456, which is, yeah, 456. 4600. So that would be 454 to 46, right? 4600, 460. So 460 would put it here. So are we looking at 70 points on S&P? Yeah, yeah. Okay, looks okay. Math says it is, so let's go with math. The mean is sitting at, let's round it up to 4600. So that would bring SPY up to about 460, right about here. But let's see, the base case for SPY to the upside would be 456 to, yeah, 456 area base case. The 21, and this is sitting here, 440, 445, 90, or let's round that up to 456 to the upside. And then let's go from there after that. It is bouncing off of this area here because you have this SPX sitting here, 45, 46. So I think let's look for a break. Let's look for a retest of this and break of this. 45.23 should be the area that we need to be watching. That will hit the mean there, and this has to come back down to hit this number, 450 area. So right now it is bouncing off of this area, 454, and I think it should come back down to 45.23. This should be a crucial area for SPX. 45.23, that would put at 452, somewhere around here for SPY. 452 area. Okay, it did bounce there twice. So yeah, let's look for that area. Let's look for that area bounce. If that doesn't bounce there, then it is coming back down to right about here, 451.13, then probably about here. So that would put 450, 450, yeah, 450 area bounces there, 44.95. So let's look for 445.11 area bounce. And then that should put this around at 450 area bounce. Let's see how this works out. Yes. We talked about futures, and uh, futures had a red doji, whereas this one did not have a SPX did not. So SPX had a red day yesterday. At is it stopped around at its 8. Most likely it is bouncing from there, just like SPY did. Then let's look for a push down, or let's look for upside for now. The upside we were looking for is about 454, and which is at here, 45.65. Then a push up into, if it pushes up from here, then we'll look for a push into 4600. That would be based on, I think, futures 4600. Uh, let's see here, 45.64. Then a touch of probably a push down from there, 45, 46 area bounce. And if it breaks there, then look for 45.30, this 8 ATMA touch. Most likely it should bounce from there, but if it doesn't, then we're looking for 45.09, and this should be the bottom, 44.83. Looking for a good probably for 50 points to the downside on SPX. And beyond that, if it breaks here, let's reassess the situation there. And if it breaks above its 5, then we can look for an upside, or probably till 4600, and that is based on futures again. But then see SPX chart, and today would be a crucial day. I'm not going into the market with a bias. So upside, downside, this is what it is: 45.30, 45.20 area bounce. This bounce would be critical. If it fails there, then we can look for a push down into this number. And with SPY, this is the area 451, whatever this number is. So the mean is sitting about here. Let's look for a bounce there. That's to the downside. That's my base case. To the upside, 457 is my base case. And if this breaks to the downside, then we are looking for a push into 446. This might not come today itself, but still, we'll keep an eye on that. And preferred setups, Apple. This is one of my preferred setups today. And this is getting oversold here. And with the market's bounce, this should also bounce around here. 170 to 90, 170, 250 to 173 area. This is where it should bounce. And if you want to short it, bless you. right at the open. I think that will also work out. This is where it needs to bounce. Everything is pointing to this bounce. But the thing that needs to be that remains to be seen is whether this bounce is ephemeral or not. And if that breaks, this is where it should come back down to. Bounce, a failed bounce here, this is where we are expecting it to come down to 170.74. So a touch of 8 and a bounce, and I think it will bounce into 175. If it can, if Apple clears here, we are looking for an upside. If Apple doesn't clear, it will come back down to its 173, just like what AMD did yesterday, and it will probably push back down into this number 170.74. And if Apple pushes up beyond its 5 from 175.47, and probably we will push into this number 180. And if Apple pushes above its 5, I'll be looking for a rally. Most likely that's not going to happen, but if it does happen for after this touch of 8, then I'll be looking for a rally into all-time highs. This is another one. This was Well, we're looking for this one to happen. It happened pre-market. Not good for us. We can't trade options around this. If you're trading equity, good for you. I think I put it in the watch list yesterday. This was a pretty much given move here. I think this will still push into 109, and this was pretty much sitting right there to be taken. Should not have happened, pre-market, but it did. We can't do much about it. But here's the expectation from DAQ to run up into this number here, 109.39. Not much juice left, and then probably go back and test this 109.87. If it breaks here, then we'll look for an upside. uh, 110, 110, 20, something around 110.20. This is not it. This is where we need to be watching DAQ. So a test, this is where exactly it is sitting right now. The 50 is blocking it, and if market pushes up, depending on Apple, if Apple pushes up, this is where it will head into 109.86. Not much left. A good dollar, but a good dollar. This will push into 109.90. So 110. uh, if somebody is interested there. But if it rejects down there, then you can look for a test of this number again, the 50. If it rejects there, then it will push back down to 105. That's the range that I want to play that. This is the exact range. And this is a clean setup, or rather, it was a clean setup. It ran up close to $2, but it is what it is. And this is the reason I was looking for docu, a push into 121 if markets hold. And we have a misplaced doji here, and if it can push above uh, this number, which is acting as a solid resistance right now, if it pushes above here, we're looking to go into 113, then probably into 116, then probably we'll run into 121. Earnings were pretty decent, and but caveat is this needs to be broken, and then Apple needs to run. Apple has a lot of weightage, and Microsoft, we did chart yesterday, so I'm not going to go into that again. Tesla is another one. uh, Yesterday the expectation for Tesla was to break this and come back down. I went long around somewhere around here. I think that did not work out. I did not take the short, but the expectation was for Tesla to hit this number and push up. Right now, it is starting to build momentum to the upside. And if it crosses above its 50, then we are heading into the mean again, which is sitting at 1090. And Tesla here is the downside case. The downside, the base case is 1070 to the downside, and to the upside, I think 1120 still stands good. And if it breaches 1120, then we are looking for a push into 1170. That's the case for Tesla. And uh, Amazon, we went through yesterday. Any VIX. How did I forget VIX? This thing. So yesterday, we were looking for VIX to play this range, right? 1870 to the downside, and right about here, 2020 to the upside. This was the range that we were looking for VIX. And VIX today cleared up that range. So 21, or rather 22, is pretty much there. If it can clear, which it did, or it came right back down. But if it bounces off of this 200 moving average, I think VIX will push back into 22. But I still don't see VIX. There's not enough juice for VIX to push up. There's just not enough. On the daily, it's trying to make a comeback. It is a simple a technical comeback, nothing more than that. People are absolutely, people are not showing any fear. Crossover happened here. It's starting to come down. This is just a technical push up, and VIX will test this number again. It's 200. That is just how it works. When it gets pushed down, anything that comes below its 200, it has to go back and test its 200. And it did yesterday, I think, and it got rejected around here. And then we are looking for a push up into this number again. Most likely we'll get that today, sometime later in the day, and a push above 2090, then we'll look for 2136. And if it clears this number, then we'll look for, uh, you know where is that? Then we'll look for a meaningful push into 23 or something around that, 2338. Well, VIX by itself, there's not really much. Not really much. Yesterday it was a technical push up. That's pretty much it. Let's see if we can at least hit its 200 and clear its 200. How it behaves on it 8 at it 8 on the daily. Let's see how this goes. ACN. Let's go over ACN. ACN is Accenture, right? Yeah, Accenture. Weekly looks good. Weekly really looks good. And the other thing that, before I forget, Bitcoin. It is coming back down. So look for a bounce on Bitcoin. Think around here. Oh, it actually failed that here. Okay. Let's see. It is heading towards its mean if it hasn't already. If it looks for a mean, I think it actually came down below its mean. So it bounced off of its 21. Let's see if that bounce lasts and how long. Coming right back down. So I think it should bounce somewhere around here, 4370. Look for minors. If it hits that, then probably it will come back to its mean, which is sitting around here, 4300. Then you can go short. Uh, so right at the open, even at the open, we can go short with the what do you call the minors. When you see this coming down, we can go look for. Let's see here. So let's put a BTC here. Based on this chart, it is running into its resistance. It will clear that resistance most likely, and this is where I think it should stop somewhere around here. So let's look for a touch of this number, and then probably look to short the miners. And if it clears here, then we'll look to go long minors into 46, 160 something. This is the line, and right now it looks like pushing up into that line, and that is about what about 300 points from here. So let's look for the touch of this, and most likely it will get rejected there. You could go short the miners here, but if it clears this line and pushes up into the resistance, then go long miners here. ACN looking good on the daily or the weekly. 351, a push into 351 is most likely is going to happen. There's enough momentum here. ACN. Oh, nice. So I think it will touch this number again to the upside. This will come back up and push into this number 339, and most likely 339.90. Most likely will get rejected here again. So push up into this number and most likely will get rejected. And this reject should push ACN into 335, 334.70, let's say 335 range. It will push it down here. And let's see how it behaves there. Then let's take a call on that. Amazon. Let's see. I think we did Amazon yesterday. Let's really quickly do this before the market opens. 34, 45 to the upside, still available. This is the upside, the minimum, the base case. If it goes up, if Apple pushes up, 33.23. This is where it is headed. That's the base case. So a good 50 points, 40 points, good 40 points to the upside, and to the downside, the mean is sitting right here, 32, 27. About a good 50 points to the downside. That's the base case. 50 points to the downside, and probably about 20 points to the upside, or 40 points to the upside. So the 50 on the weekly, the mean on the to the upside, the mean on the weekly to the downside. That's my base case. Out here, look for a bounce here, and everything 33.31. The downside 32.40. This is what Amazon will, and these levels, if it crosses above the 5, then it will go hit the 200, and which will act as resistance again. If it go pushes below, it will go hit this number. Most likely this will break and it will come back down to this number 32.40. That's how I want to play Amazon today if I'm getting involved. Facebook we did yesterday, Apple we did yesterday, Microsoft we did yesterday in the night. So yeah. All right. 1 minute to the open. Good luck, guys. See you in Sanity.